Hey, everybody. I decided to go live just a little bit early to give people time to get in here. So I am broadcasting live on both YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. So I thought I would just jump in here a little bit early, give everybody a chance to get in here. If you're new to this channel, my name is 𝗙𝗂𝗶𝗰. I run this channel known as Gen X Marks the Spot. I do a number of things. I do Gen X nostalgia. I do true crime. I do horror movie and generalized movie reviews and politics. But today I'm going back to the thing that I know the best, and that is true crime. We're going to be talking about first developments in the 𝗙𝗪𝗻𝗁 case, and then we're going to be talking about the murder of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO that occurred just 2 days ago in New York City. So if you can hear me, give me a comment. Let me know that you're out there, and we'll get started here with the content here very, very soon. I see we've got about 17 people watching. That is awesome, and I really appreciate it. But I guess since everyone's here, I'll go ahead and get started with my first topic, and that is the 𝗙𝗪𝗻𝗁 case. As you know, this has been headlines for the last couple of weeks. Basically, you've got 𝗙𝗪𝗻𝗁, who I consider an innocent man, a former Marine that defended people from a sadly mentally ill man by the name of Jordan Neely, tried to restrain him, and he ended up passing away. And so DA Alvin Bragg decided that this would be a worthy target of his ire, and actually charged him with 2 counts, one second-degree manslaughter and a negligent homicide. Well, the trial's been going on for about 2 weeks, and today the jury has been deadlocked for about 24 hours on the first charge, the second-degree manslaughter. Now, in New York, if you're charged with 2 very similar counts, that is second-degree manslaughter and negligent homicide, they're very similar. Manslaughter is recklessly killing someone without premeditation or intent, as in first or second-degree murder. Whereas negligent homicide is negligent actions that cause the death of someone that you were unaware of. So whereas in the first charge, you were doing something reckless that you knew could potentially result in a death, the other is you were doing some things that led to the death of someone else without you knowing. So, but in New York, the way it's set up, if you are convicted of the higher charge of second-degree manslaughter, you can then not be convicted of the lower charge of negligent homicide. Now, the second-degree manslaughter carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison, negligent homicide of 4 years, though all of that's at the judge's discretion. Well, this jury was deadlocked on the second-degree manslaughter, and just before I went live tonight, it came down that the state decided to drop the manslaughter charge, leaving the jury now just to consider negligent homicide on Monday. Now, to the naked eye, this would seem to be great news. 𝗙𝗪𝗻𝗁 is off the hook for the larger charge, and now just has to worry about a potential 4 years in prison. Now, for me, it's still a travesty because I believe he's absolutely innocent and should not even have been. There's a lot of speculation that this is a ruse by Alvin Bragg's DA's office to basically get some sort of compromise judgment. In fact, 𝗙𝗪𝗻𝗁's lawyers were against this. They wanted the judge to either declare a mistrial because of the hung jury, or force the jury into or ask the jury to reconsider that would then come. In their estimation, this is an effort to kind of compromise to go ahead and convict him of the lesser charge because, we're so beautiful, we dropped the larger charge. So that's kind of where we are. Hopefully you've been following the case. I know I have. It's been super interesting. But what do you think? Do any of you out there have an opinion on what you think of the DA's up to with this? I mean, I really hope it comes back as not guilty or another hung jury that would then result in a mistrial. And I think with all of the shenanigans, I don't think the DA's office is going to be willing to bring the charges back. Honestly, I think if he gets not guilty or a mistrial, then he's out the door and innocent. So anyway, see if we have any comments. Still no comments. So if you have any questions or concerns, if you have any input, if you think I'm crazy, if you think I should even be talking about this, let me know. But that's kind of where the Daniel Penny case starts, hangs at this moment. All right, now let's get over to what the big topic of the evening is, the case of Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson was the 50-year-old CEO of the United Healthcare Government Group. He is the CEO of the division of United Healthcare that handles their Medicare supplements, you know, the co-insurance that seniors have to buy to go along with their Medicare. He's also in charge of senior care and government pension plans and some retirement plans. So he's not the CEO of the division that handles the health insurance, the private for-profit health insurance that we're so familiar with. He's not that CEO, but he is a CEO of another group within the division. He was actually born in 1970 in Jewell, Iowa. His parents were in the grain industry. He is separated with children. He and his wife live in houses very close to each other in a Minneapolis suburb in Minnesota. And before, he also attended the University of Iowa, where he graduated in 1997 with a bachelor's in business administration. And before working for United Healthcare, he started working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, where he was in charge of their transactional division, which handles a lot of mergers, acquisitions, and things like that, as well as audits of certain, divisions like health insurance companies or insurance companies. PricewaterhouseCoopers is a huge accounting firm, so he was in charge of auditing certain businesses for PricewaterhouseCoopers. He joined United Healthcare in 2024, becoming the CEO of the Health and Government Division in 2021. Under his tutelage and leadership, the profits for this division have gone from $12 million in 2021 to $16 million in 2023. So no matter what your opinion of health insurance companies or even him, you have to admit he's a pretty spot-on business guy. Let's get to his salary. In 2022, he made an estimated salary and bonuses of $9.3 million, with that increasing to $10.2 million estimated in 2023. Now, why all the hate, other than the fact he's associated with the largest health insurer in the country and the one with the most egregious and lowest rate of claims acceptance or claims payout, which we will get to tonight? Well, in addition to all of that, he's had quite a bit of spotlight on him due to some insider trading. Basically, in February, he sold about $15 million worth of his stock options in United Healthcare just before a decision was made on an antitrust, anti-monopoly suit brought by the U.S. government because they were attempting to acquire a chain of senior care facilities that, in the government's estimation, would have given United Healthcare an unfair monopoly. Now, he was not the only executive that sold these stocks just before the government announcement. That is, that is insider trading. He sold, they were anticipating United Healthcare buying this senior group of businesses, and their stock was going up, 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 up. And then they knew that the government was going to hit the brakes on the deal, causing their stock to plummet. So what Thompson alone, their head of HR, Aaron McSweeney, and their chief accounting officer, Tim Ruse, all together sold about $101 million worth of shares, with Hemsley, of course, the chairman of the board, netting about $85 million. Now, as a result of this, because his division of United Healthcare handled pensions, it handled retirement, it handled all kinds of things for different entities around the country. Lots of these pensions, including a group of firefighters in West Hollywood, lost a lot of money in their pension funds, as well as the DOJ and the SEC have launched an inquiry into him specifically, as well as some other executives, to bring them up on charges of insider trading. So he's been in the spotlight quite a bit, and a lot of people have been angry, not only because United Healthcare has an abysmal record of paying out medical claims, but also a lot of these pensions lost a lot of money as a result of his insider trading, because they were heavily invested in United Healthcare stock. And when they short sold, imagine looking at your retirement and seeing it falling by like $117 million, which is what happened to the group of firefighters in West Hollywood, California. They saw their entire pension, their entire retirement fund fall collectively by about $117 million. So a lot of people angry at Brian Thompson and United Healthcare in general. Now, before we get into what we know about the case, I want to take you through kind of United Healthcare's abysmal record of paying claims. Give me one moment here. Just one moment. So, while I'm pulling up my my chart here, I can tell you that United Healthcare has a record of denying just around 30% of claims, which is way above the industry norm, or the industry average, as it would be. So let me share this. And that is pretty abysmal for any health insurer to deny that many claims. So let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty. Here we go. Here we go. If it will pull up here. And here we go. One moment. Got it. And I hate to use Reddit as my source, but it is the best copy of this chart that I could find. But as you can see here, The industry average for claims denial, now this is in network. If you go out of network in health insurance, you know, they're pretty upfront that they don't pay that well. But in network, United Healthcare is by far the biggest denier of in-network health claims of 33%, followed by Blue Cross, Molina, Aetna, Cigna. Now, the industry average of denial is right about 18%. So as you can see, a lot of the major carriers are above that. So it's really kind of food for thought. The lowest rate, that is, has the best rate of paying health claims, is 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗰, which is a huge HMO, PPC out their own clinics, their own hospitals, their own ambulance. It's almost a monopoly, which is kind of laughable that the United States government was about to come down on United Healthcare for buying long-term care facilities, whereas they allow something like 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗰, which owns just about all of the California health system, to flourish. But the one good thing about that is they do pay their claims at a huge rate. So, you know, I don't know. Give that over to United States government to be very, very, you know, two-faced about who they allow to be a monopoly and who they don't. Hey, great. I've finally got some comments in here. Welcome. Welcome in 𝗵𝗠𝗃, and I am doing well. Thank you very much. And welcome, Gypsy. Hopefully we'll have some more people join us really soon. For those of you that just joined us, I did start about 5 minutes early because I wanted to test this is the first time I have broadcasted to both X and YouTube, so I wanted to check everything. Hey, Duke, how are you? And I'm so glad you can be here tonight. I did go over the latest developments in the Daniel Penny case, which is the DA dropping the second-degree manslaughter charges, and basically the judge telling the jury to concentrate on the lesser charge of negligent homicide. They're very, very similar. One is you knew that you knew you were endangering somebody with reckless behavior, and the other, you were just being reckless and didn't realize that you were endangering somebody. So under New York state law, if you're found guilty on the higher charge, the lower charge cannot be considered, and they could not move. The jury was deadlocked on the higher charge of second-degree manslaughter. So the DA kind of knew they would never get to that lesser charge with a hung jury, and it might result in a mistrial, which probably would have been the best thing in this scenario outside of a absolute non-guilty verdict. But what happened was the DA went ahead and dismissed the charges, dropped the charges of second-degree manslaughter, with the judge telling the jury they would be considering the lesser charge of negligent homicide on Monday. And a lot of people are worried that this is going to lead to some sort of compromise, that they'll convict him on that lesser charge, which carries up to 4 years in prison. I really hope not. I really hope we're looking for a not guilty verdict or another hung jury and a mistrial on that lesser charge. And beyond that, I just went over the life of Brian Thompson, how long he's been with United Healthcare, and the fact that his insider trading led to a couple of pension and retirement funds tanking. And that's why so many people are angry with him, as well as United Healthcare's overall abysmal payment rate for claims. And if you just got here, you're all caught up now. So now I want to dive into what actually happened. As it has made national news, we know that his life was taken from him on December 4th before 7 a.m. Yep, absolutely. The second-degree manslaughter was dismissed. And so Brian's life was taken from him December 4th in front of a hotel. He was there to speak at the United Healthcare's investors conference. So he was there for official business along with lots of people, other people, investors in United Healthcare, and he was gunned down by what we think is a lone gunman in direct view of security cameras in front of a Hilton hotel in the west side of Manhattan. So that's kind of where we are. And yes, I agree with you, Gypsy. If anyone on that jury is sane, they should be very, very furious now. And I hope it leads to another hung jury and a mistrial or a not guilty verdict on the negligent homicide. I really do. Because that young man does not deserve what is happening to him. But the great thing is, Gypsy, if they end up convicting him on that and the judge gives him, even just a slap on the wrist, his lawyer has more than enough ammunition based on how this was done. It was almost like they were going for the compromised verdict to appeal this and get it thrown out. So there's another little light at the end of the tunnel in the Daniel Penny case. But I hope it's a straight up not guilty or a mistrial where the Alvin Bragg will not dare to bring it again. But Alvin Bragg, he's an SOB. But back to the Brian Thompson case, and we'll circle back to Daniel Penny at the end, and I'll take some more comments and questions. And if you're new here, please like, comment, share, subscribe, drop a comment so that I know you're out there. I really appreciate everyone. I've got 52 people watching. That is by far a record for me for a live stream. As you can tell, I'm a little bit of a novice at it. So let's dive into what we know about the Brian Thompson gunman. And I'm going to share a little presentation that I made. And we're going to go over everything we know. Now, this is what we know up to this point. This case is like an onion, y'all. It just continues to peel back, peel back, peel back. Every minute there's something new. It's almost weird how much they seem to know about this guy, which we'll get into some of my theories at the end, but it's just weird. But we found out today that he evidently came into New York around November 30th, and he took a Greyhound bus or a public transit bus from Atlanta to New York City. He then has been staying in a hostel with several other people in a one room on the west side of Manhattan, and he was wearing a mask and the same dark hoodie he wore on the day of the shooting, and it was only because he was flirting with a female desk attendant at the hostel that she told him she would only flirt with him if she could see his face, and so he was evidently removed it for that. Though I think this picture is actually from a Starbucks, which we will get to. But basically, he arrives. He's been in Manhattan from the November 30th to at least December 4th. I'm sure he's long gone now. But so he had about 5 days there. And basically, yeah. So basically, he had more than enough time to case out where Brian Thompson would be. And this leads into one of my theories. Whoever did this or whoever hired this man had to have an intimate knowledge of where Brian Thompson would be. They don't release itineraries of high-level executives on their website. In fact, I checked the United Healthcare website for Daniel Penny's, for Brian Thompson's biography on the afternoon of the 4th. They've already wiped all evidence of him from their website. So how does that make you feel? You've dedicated your life to this company. You were killed supposedly by and large about opinions that people have of you and the company, and they just wipe you off the website. So buoy. So they don't publish itinerary of high-level executives for anybody to see. So someone, either in his family or with the company, had to know where he was down to the minute for this to happen, because this guy was right outside the door of his hotel when he walked out to walk up to probably get coffee and go to his meeting. So somebody had to clue this guy in on his exact itinerary, which leads me to believe it's somebody in the family or the company. So we're gonna get to that. So now we skip from November 30th to December 4th. And at 6:15 a.m., the suspect, which is right back here, is caught by a security camera on one of the subway stations, exiting the 56th Street F train station and walking towards Upper West Side to Midtown, where the Hilton where the victim was staying was located. Then at 6:17 a.m., videos at the nearby Starbucks where that picture of him without his mask at kind of the counter was taken. It shows him buying a bottle of water, 2 energy bars, and this is about 30 minutes before the shooting. And then it shows him leaving and heading on towards the hotel. Now, the bottle of water on the ground near the murder scene. So they did try to get a fingerprint off of that, but it was smeared, and so they didn't really get a whole lot off of it. But this guy had a very, very pertinent, very exact way he was getting to the murder scene. It's almost like he was doing it for dramatic purposes, because how did he get caught at so many points? It's just weird. Everything about this case is weird. And so at 6:30, he is seen by a surveillance camera at some of the businesses walking towards the hotel. It's about 6:30, and he just appears to be talking on his phone. So he's just walking along on my way to kill somebody, talking on the phone. Again, weirdness. Then and then about 6:44 a.m., this is where Brian Thompson steps out of his hotel and is walking toward where his conference is going to be held, probably to get breakfast and coffee or hobnob with the other executives beforehand. That's him. He's in a suit. And here is our intrepid shooter in the hoodie with his backpack. And he has a very unique weapon with a silencer. And you see in the video, I can't play the video because I've tried to play it before and gotten a warning, so I can't play the video. But you can find it very, very easily over on X. X has everything. It's one of the greatest things ever. Thank you, Elon Musk. But he basically pulls out his gun and fires with a silencer. And silencers are illegal in the state of New York, so it would make sense he's coming from Georgia. Fires one shot. It strikes Thompson in the back. You see in the moving video, Thompson kind of turn around shocked and then kind of stumble away. He steps forward, appears to clear a jam, because silencers do have a tendency to jam weapons. He fires again, clears another jam, and I believe fires again. So, and then he disappears. And everybody, I'm going to come back to your comments and your questions. Just let me get through this. Then, after the shooting, he is seen running towards an alley leading to between 54th and 55th Street. And then he's kind of disappeared from sight, but then he's seen a little bit later heading north towards Central Park on 6th Street, or 6th Avenue, excuse me. And then at the scene, there was 3 shell casings that were probably cleared as a result of the jam. When he jammed it, it probably discharged the actual unused shells on the ground, and on them were found delay, dispose, deny. Now, this comes from a book that was published some years ago about corruption in the medical insurance industry, and it says this is their game. You deny a claim, you defend your denial, and you hope to dispose of it, because a lot of people, particularly like me, if I get a claim denied, at a certain point, I'm going to give up. It's just like John Grisham said in The Rainmaker. You deny, the people get frustrated, they drop, you subtract the amount of money you made from the premiums, from, any quickie settlements that you have to make, and there's a pot of gold left. So that's kind of how they operate. And I have worked in insurance departments of medical practices before, and we were very good at going back and continuing to harass them until we got paid. But a lot of people don't do that. So they feel that by denying these claims, now some of the claims could be fraudulent, but by denying a lot of claims, they often don't have to pay because people just give up. But that was terms in a book about corruption in the medical insurance industry, and just quite convenient that 3 of the bullets that were left on the ground had that written on them. They also found his phone and a bottle of water. So he dropped his phone, dropped a bottle of water. Still have not been able to get any good fingerprints as far as we know. So again, weird, just weird. It's almost theatrical, and we'll come back to that. Then, about 7 a.m., he is shown riding an e-bike that he must have rented. So there's another trail there, riding not far from the murder on 85th Street. And then we kind of lose sight of him, but Thompson was declared dead at a local hospital at 7:12 a.m. And then we go to Thursday, December 5th, where they find out all about his stay in the hostel. And then today we find out that he evidently came from Atlanta. And that's the whole timeline that we know. Now, if you are alive and on social media, everybody is talking about this case, and a lot of people are very happy about it. It's almost Orwellian the way people are happy about it because of the stuff inscribed on his bullets, on his casings. People think this was some great, we're the revolution moment, people rising up against corrupt health insurance companies. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. I think this was all about good old-fashioned revenge or money. And as I said on X yesterday, I really believe that he was hired by either someone in his family, and because he and his wife were separated, I highly recommend they go to the wife first. She has already spoken with investigators and did confirm that he's received at least 3 death threats, along with other executives at this company in the last few months. Or it's somebody in the company because he was about to be deposed in the DOJ case. He knew where all the bodies were buried, and somebody took him out before they went down. Now, those are my 2 major theories. And they hired somebody that left such a clear and concise trail, dropped these bullets, dressed like an Antifa person to kind of divert from what really happened. So they're wanting it to look like some big, we are the revolution. And with all the hate online, these peoples are just feeding into it. And so that's kind of where I am. I think it's good old-fashioned revenge or greed, not revolution, not revenge, not, somebody so angry because a claim was denied. I really think it's somebody that was close to him. And it's going to be revenge and money in the end. Mark my words. And now I'm going to get into some of your comments here. Let's see. If a sudden pardoning fit, will President Biden give a blanket pardon? It wouldn't surprise me. Yes, it wouldn't surprise me. He did pardon O'Hunter, and he's looking at blanket pardons for several other people. Wouldn't surprise me if he preemptively pardoned this SOB. But also, this would be more of a state thing, and the president has no power in that. And that's the reason he can't pardon Daniel Penny. I've seen a lot of people say that. It would have to be Governor Holcomb of New York to pardon Daniel Penny, but I don't think she's going to do that. So here, M16, I do agree with you. A betting person looks to family first. Absolutely. That is standard protocol in any murder case. I've covered enough of them that I know it's standard to go to the spouse and the immediate family first. But the employee, absolutely. I really think it's somebody for revenge because this guy knows where the body's buried, or somebody just after his life insurance, or she may not want to go through the divorce. I'm not saying it's her, but there's all kinds of things that show they wanted somebody to kind of know who this was, and that it was all about the revolution, and all that good stuff. Here for Gypsy. Why does one photo show the assassin has female features and the rest are male? Yeah, I don't think all of the photos that have surfaced are the same guy. There's one where the jacket is obviously a different color. The backpack's a different color. The nose is different. I don't believe they're all the same person. So I absolutely agree with you. I tried to pick the ones that I was fairly certain was the correct person, or at least the same sex as the person. But yeah, I have noticed that. So I tried to pull the photos that I thought were most probable. Yeah, hey Gypsy, I did start a little bit early and I did go over all of that. So my apologies there. But yes, not only did investors lose out to the tune of about 101 million, there were several pension funds. Like his division also did retirement funds for public entities, and there was a group of firefighters in West Hollywood, California, that lost 117 million out of their retirement fund because of the insider trading that he did. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are pissed at this guy, which is why I say it's money and revenge, or money or revenge. This seems to be the prevalent, hey Felicia, this seems to be the prevalent theory online that it was somebody, either a policyholder, a family member of a policyholder, or just somebody aggravated at all the crap that health insurance companies can do, and wanted the ultimate revenge. But so I guess it's possible, but I'm leaning toward either somebody in his family that wanted his assets, or somebody in the company that was getting rid of him, not necessarily for money, but to save their own butt, because this guy was about to be deposed by the Department of Justice. And so that's really where I kind of see it. No, but it was, as you said, it was not somebody that was wanting to talk to him. It was somebody that wanted him gone, or wanted some sort of solution to the problem. Now going back up to talk about, I saw some little comments about Daniel Penny, but looks like I addressed all of them. But yeah, Duke, absolutely. If he had worn a COVID mask, an N95 would have probably fit right in. But have you seen some of the horrendous comment? Now, this guy is a criminal. If he's guilty of what he is accused of, that is the CEO, then yes, he is absolutely not a good person. But no one deserves to be murdered. Everybody deserves their day in court. But some of the comments that I'm seeing over on X about this gentleman, and about how people are cheering for him. I believe it was Taylor Lorenz, who is a left-wing columnist that has been fired from the Washington Post so many times I can't count, actually came out and said, we want these CEOs to die. Just absolutely. And then we even see Blue Cross Blue Shield had Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a division of Blue Cross, had recently come out with a ruling that they were going to limit what they paid for surgery anesthesia. Now, on the surface, that sounds really bad. And you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? You are corrupt. But then if you dug into it, and I did, anesthesiologists have been billing for years. And I have people that work in the healthcare industry, and they've told me this, that lots of times anesthesiologists or nurse anesthetists, usually anesthesiologists, because nurses have to work under their care, will bill for them drinking coffee 30 minutes before the surgery and 30 minutes after the surgery. So what the 𝗟𝗿𝗀 rule was actually doing is confining how much anesthesia, the time they will pay for anesthesia, to the generally accepted length of what that surgery would take, which to me is very reasonable. And then, individual cases would be handled if there's issues. That's all they were doing, is saying, if you're having an appendectomy and the average time for an appendectomy is an hour and a half, we're only going to pay for anesthesia for 90 minutes or an hour and a half, not 2 hours, because the anesthesiologist starts billing when he walks into the hospital, vice versa. And to me, that's very reasonable. But now, because of all this vitriol being spewed online, they're dropping that. So it's leftists, if you're listening to me, it's not the best way to fight the overprice of the prices of medical care. Because if anesthesia was only used for 90 minutes, they should only be paying for 90 minutes. It's just, but now they're paying for 2 hours. That raises everybody's premiums, everybody's healthcare costs. But now Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield says they're not going to do it anymore because of all this rhetoric. So these people that are saying, Viva la Revolution, are kind of shooting themselves in the foot. But I'm going to take a look, see if I can find some of these hateful comments. I'll see if I can actually find the Taylor Lorenz video, because it was just, and this woman, she's probably my age, and she is a columnist, a freelance columnist. She's kind of like Emma Vigeland, the one I covered the last time I was on here, that lived a very privileged life and has never really been in the real world. And it's always people like that cause trouble for everyone else. But let me bring this up for you. This is what she said when Blue Cross Blue Shield had just released the fact that they were going to cut down on the amount of time they pay for anesthesia. And if it'll load here, sorry, technical difficulties. Just a second here. Caught in a doom spiral. Give me a second here. I'll just show it to you here. And people, here's Taylor Lorenz, and she did this on Blue Sky. But here is where, see, this was framed by a leftist over on Blue Skies, that they will no longer pay for anesthesia for the full length of some surgeries. That's not true. As I said, they were only going to limit it to what the generally accepted length of a surgery is, with exceptions if the patient needs to be under longer. Not, the surgery should take an hour and a half. They don't want to pay for 3 hours worth of anesthesia. And then she comes out, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. And because of this, they then reversed their decision. And she actually went on, I believe it was TMZ, and spewed even more vitriol. And I just wonder if the FBI is even watching her. See if I can find that clip. This may be it. Let's see. But yes, she's a vile, vile person. I don't like her at all. Unfortunately, I can't find the clip, so I apologize for that. But she went on TMZ basically spewing the same kind of rhetoric. And yes, you are correct, M16. She went after the YouTubers who covered Depp and Heard. She lied about them. She lied about the case. This is not the first time she's lied about something. But yeah, she's a pretty vile creature. And it's literally, people just absolutely are glad this man is dead. I mean, he was only 50. He's basically my age. I'm 49. He's a Gen Xer. Yes, he did some bad things, but no one deserves to die. He at least should have gotten his day in court, in my opinion. Let's get another comment here. That's what I'm saying. They don't want him to talk or be deposed. My grandpa had open heart surgery years ago, and they tried to charge for all sorts of things that weren't used. Yes, exactly. There's a lot. People blame the health insurance companies, and they have their own share of problems. Don't get me wrong. But if you've ever wanted to dive into the medical waste that goes on in hospitals, because like I said, I have worked billing insurance, and the way it works, insurances have contracts with medical providers, hospitals, what have you, and there's an agreed upon pay schedule. Basically, the hospital agrees to a certain amount, but there are loopholes where they can attempt to to charge more. So lots of times hospital do that. They'll charge 10 times what they actually did and expect the health insurance to pay for it. And lots of times the health insurance will refuse a claim because of that, and the hospital will have to go back in and issue a bunch of discounts down to the limits that a health insurance would pay, and then accept that. So there is a lot of waste on both sides. Trust me. So because of that, thank you, leftists. An anesthesiologist can continue to overbill, and everybody's cost of surgery is going to go up. What Anthem Blue Cross was attempting to do was going to save everybody money in the long run, reduce costs in the long run. It's kind of like they're LARPing at the French Revolution right now with these health insurance companies, which is just absolutely asinine. But what they don't realize, what happened after the French Revolution? You got Robespierre and the Reign of Terror. Then you got Napoleon. And then eventually they invited the king back, the king's son back, because they couldn't handle it. They couldn't do it. So they ended up worse off than they were because of the revolution. Now, the revolution did provide a lot of democracy and stuff like that. I'm not saying it wasn't a good thing. But these people are LARPing at the French Revolution by, taking it out on the CEO. And it shows me both the vile side and the stupid side of today's left-wing party, for sure. But anyway, everybody, that's really all I had. I don't want to keep everybody all night because it is Friday night. If you're coming home from work and you just want to rest and relax, I absolutely agree. I want to do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But thank you, everybody that joined me. This has been great. I will be doing more of these, and let me know what you think. Drop a comment on the recording. Let's see here what Gypsy's saying here before I go. But it's not only that everything in hospitals and insurance is corrupt. It's just, oh yeah, absolutely. Lots of things are overcharged. And I'm not giving the health insurance companies a pass. I'm just saying that there is overcharging with medical providers too. Let's see. It wasn't that the French revolt, but it's how they did it. Absolutely. How they did it. They put basically another tyrant in charge. Let's see what Duke's saying here. Union retirement investments can be sound, sure. But there's or risky and greedy, like the Hollywood firefighter pension plan. Exactly. It depends on who your administrator of your plan is and who's in charge of the investments connected with that plan. If they're willing to take risks, then it can be, worse. If they're willing to be conservative, your balance is safer, but you don't make as much. So it's a fine line. But basically, this pension fund was heavily invested in United Healthcare stock, and it took a turn. So you've got a lot of people angry at Brian Thompson for just that reason. So it remains to be seen. I really think it's going to come down to greed and revenge. Nothing revolutionary, just greed and revenge. And they hired a very inept person to play act as some revolutionary to throw everybody off their track. And so that's kind of where I'll leave it. But everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I really appreciated it. And I'll be doing more of these. And thank you so much. Until next time. Gen X out.